My pregnant wife thought she could leave me after birth without consequences. But my revenge changed everything. I always thought my wife Mary was my soulmate, the love of my life, the woman I would grow old with. But one night I discovered a truth so dark it made my blood run cold. My pregnant wife was planning to leave me after giving birth, and she thought I would never find out. She thought she could play me like a fool, but she never expected what I would do next. It started when I noticed little changes in her behavior. She became distant cold, as if I was just a stranger in her life. She stopped saying, "I love you," stopped holding my hand in bed, started hiding her phone like it was some kind of top-secret document. At first, I told myself it was just the pregnancy hormones. I wanted to believe she was just stressed. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. One night, she fell asleep early. I sat next to her watching her breathe, wondering where it all went wrong. My heart ached as I thought about how excited I had been when she told me she was pregnant. I was ready to be the best father, to love her, support her, give her everything she needed. But then her phone buzzed and everything changed. A message popped up from her best friend, Lisa. "Did you pack everything yet? You need to leave right after the baby is born. No delays this time." I felt like the ground beneath me had vanished. My hands trembled as I unlocked her phone using the password I had seen her type 1,000 times. What I found shattered me into a million pieces. There were messages, emails, even legal documents, all confirming the same thing. Mary had been planning this for months. The moment our baby was born, she was going to leave me, take full custody, and disappear from my life forever. She had even consulted a lawyer behind my back, making sure I had no chance of fighting back. I stared at her sleeping face, rage and heartbreak battling inside me. How could the woman I loved betray me like this? I wanted to scream to wake her up and demand answers. But I knew I needed to be smart. If she wanted to play this game, I would make sure she lost in the worst way possible. The next morning, I acted normal. I kissed her forehead, made her breakfast, even rubbed her feet like I always did. She had no idea I knew her secret, and that was my advantage. I spent the next few weeks preparing, setting my plan in motion. While she was busy planning her escape, I was building my revenge. First, I met with the best lawyer in town. I gathered every piece of evidence, screenshots, recordings, even the messages from her best friend. I made sure there was no way she could take my child away from me. Then I made sure to secure my finances. If she thought she was walking away with my money, she was in for a nasty surprise. Then came the final part of my plan. The moment she went into labor, I was right by her side, holding her hand, whispering words of encouragement. She had no idea that I had already made arrangements with the hospital. That the moment our baby was born, everything would change forever. The second she held our baby in her arms, I leaned in close and whispered, "I know everything, Mary. You will never take my child away from me." Her face turned pale. She looked at me with wide eyes, filled with shock, panic, realization. She knew she was caught. Her face turned pale. She looked at me with wide eyes, filled with shock, panic, realization. She knew she was caught. She opened her mouth to say something, but no words came out. I saw the fear in her eyes, the way her hands trembled as she held our baby close. I leaned in even closer. My voice, calm, but filled with something dangerous. "You thought you could betray me, steal my child, and walk away like nothing happened. You planned everything so carefully, but you forgot one thing. Mary, I am always one step ahead." She started shaking her head, her lips quivering. "Michael, please, I can explain. It's not what you think." I let out a low, bitter laugh. "Not what I think, I have proof. Mary, I saw the messages, the legal documents. You were going to leave me right after birth, take my child and disappear. You were going to destroy me." Her eyes welled up with tears, but I felt nothing. No pity. No sadness. Just cold, hard determination. She looked around as if searching for an escape, but there was none. "Michael, please," I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I just thought, "You thought you could ruin my life and get away with it." I cut her off, my voice like ice. "But you won't, Mary. You lost the moment you betrayed me." She started sobbing, shaking her head over and over. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I swear you just planned to rip my child away from me and disappear like I never existed." I stepped back, watching her crumble before my eyes. "Well, guess what? Mary, you're not going anywhere." That was when the doctor walked in carrying the legal papers I had prepared. "Mrs. Mary, we need you to sign these," the doctor said gently. Mary looked at the papers, confusion and fear flashing across her face. "What is this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I smiled coldly. "Full custody, Mary. I am taking full custody of our child. You are signing away your rights right now." She gasped, looking at me like I was a monster. "You can't do this, Michael. You can't take my baby away from me." I crossed my arms. "Oh, but I can, Mary. You see, I have proof that you were planning to abandon me and take my child. That alone is enough for the courts to rule against you." But I didn't stop there. I also have proof of financial fraud. Remember, those little bank transfers you thought I wouldn't notice. You were stealing from our joint account, planning to take my money with you. I had a forensic accountant trace every dollar. Her sobs turned hysterical as she clutched our baby tighter. "Michael, please don't do this. We can fix this. We can be a family." I shook my head slowly. "A family? You destroyed that the moment you decided to betray me. I was ready to give you everything, love, loyalty, a life together, but you threw it all away. Now you have to face the consequences." She looked around desperately, then turned to the doctor. "Please, don't make me sign this. Please, he can't do this to me." The doctor sighed, giving her a sympathetic look. "Mrs. Mary, I have been informed by our legal team that if you do not sign these papers today, they will be submitted to court, along with all the evidence, and you will likely lose all rights permanently. If you sign now, you may still get supervised visitation in the future." Her hands trembled as she stared at the papers. Her entire body shook as she realized there was no escape. I had taken every path, every option away from her. She had lost. She was completely and utterly destroyed. With tears streaming down her face, she took the pen in her hand and signed her name, each stroke of the pen sealing her fate. The moment she finished, I took the papers and handed them to my lawyer, who was waiting outside. "Thank you, Mary, for finally doing something right," I said, my voice cold and final. "Now pack your things and get out of my house." She sobbed, begging, pleading, but I felt nothing. The woman I had once loved was gone, replaced by a traitor, a liar, someone who thought she could destroy me, but instead destroyed herself. As she walked out of my life forever, I held my child close, knowing I had won. Knowing I had protected my baby from a mother who was willing to use them as a pawn. And as I watched her disappear into the night, I felt nothing but satisfaction, because in the end, she had played a game she could never win. And that's how I turned the tables on the woman who thought she could destroy me. But tell me, what would you have done in my place? Would you have given her a second chance, or made her pay for what she did? Let me know in the comments. I'll be reading every single one. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more insane real-life betrayals, just like this one. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a story that will leave you speechless. See you in the next one.